Welcome once again to Dirty Laundry. This is where I fold laundry, talk into a mic, and into a video for no really reason, just to do it because I enjoy it. So, today we're going to talk about Kotaku being blacklisted by both Bethesda and Ubisoft. So if you don't know what blacklisting is basically where a publisher or developer will take a site and remove its privileges as far as review copies and press releases and all that type of stuff goes. So basically they're put on media blackout. So instead of, the usual thing where press sites will receive review copies early, that way they can excuse me, that was a good one. So instead of that was disgusting, I should probably cut that out. We'll see if I don't. But anyway, so they get review copies early. What they'll do is they'll then take that, play the game, do the review thing, publish the review whenever the embargo lifts. And in Bethesda's Fallout 4 case, there was an embargo on the embargo, which is weird. But anyway, so basically they'll publish the review. It'll get them a lot of attention. It'll also get the game a lot of attention. Hopefully that'll translate to sales. We don't really know if that actually happens or not, but whatever. And then, everyone's happy and we continue on. So Kotaku, unfortunately, is a good site. I've had some issues with it in the past, but those are minor and inconclusive and they just don't count. Whatever. They're just dumb little things that I was annoyed with them in the past, but now they're actually a really good site. They did a lot of good articles, a lot of good stuff that they do. Specifically, the most recent one I can think of is the Destiny thing, where they basically plotted the past of Destiny from pre-development, development, release, post-release, and the Taken King, and how it changed, and a lot of stuff changed, like, pretty drastically before that game even came out. And so they did a really good article doing that. They've also done some other good stuff, but the things that specifically put them on the blacklist for Ubisoft and Bethesda was that they had, I guess they were the ones who first published how Fallout 4 was going to take place in Massachusetts, which, lo and behold, it did. They broke that story. They got the leak, or they had to have gotten the leak from somebody at Bethesda, or somebody tipped them off to it or something, to where they, they published that, and Bethesda didn't like that because, every publisher and developer has a marketing team that puts together how they want the game to be, slowly information leaked out to the press, and then the press then takes that and regurgitates it and spreads it to their audience. And it's kind of like some people who are very cynical say press is simply a extension of PR, marketing, which maybe they are. I mean, the news cycle is kind of just regurgitating information from either other sites or the publisher, the source itself, stuff like that. But that's whatever. That's a very cynical look at it. But so basically, Kotaku finally came out after apparently months of not getting any any type of emails or responses or really anything from Bethesda and Ubisoft. They finally come out and said, hey, this is what happens. We are basically blacklisted. We cannot get access to Fallout 4. That's why their review went up like 2 or 3 days ago from when I'm recording this. Their Fallout 4 review finally went up. And, same thing with their Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I believe. And so it's just kind of like this thing where it's a weird thing because it doesn't help either company. So on Kotaku's end, they don't get that review copy early, which means they can't meet the embargo deadline. And just like, with a game publisher, their sales for their games are the biggest on release week and release day specifically. Same thing for articles, and specifically reviews. When reviews hit that first day, that's when they're going to get the most views. And so if you're not able to hit the same day as every other, company site, it was able to put theirs up, it's just like you lose a lot from that, because especially with Kotaku, their review went up when I already had the game, and I'm just a regular person. Well, I mean, I work for DualShockers, but I didn't get the review copy for Fallout 4. Sorry, I burped again. So it's like it's a net loss because of that. There are people who might only go, or probably only go, to Kotaku for a source because they don't have time to, go to IGN or Eurogamer or PC Gamer or Polygon or GameSpot or like any of these other sites. DualShockers. They don't have time to go all those sites. So instead they pick one site and they just kind of stick with it, and they'll get their information from that one site. So if you went to Kotaku and you were only going there, you would maybe not notice, but you would see that Fallout 4 review on their site didn't hit the same time as the other sites. Fallout 4 was actually already out. And so this is kind of what plays into the whole, press just being another arm of the marketing for these publishers is you, as a publisher, when you don't give these sites the same access as the other sites, they're not going to be able to cover it as much as the other sites, which means you're going to be losing out on marketing. And there's no such thing as bad advertising. Any advertising is good advertising. So when a publisher denies, access for a certain press outlet, you're actually losing certain advertising because the articles are basically advertising. They are containing the name and information of this game. And so by publishing those articles, people are reading them and knowing more about your game, which makes them potentially more inclined to buy it. Because if they didn't know what the hell Fallout 4 was, which is a weird thing because everyone knows what Fallout 4 was, at least I think, they wouldn't purchase your game. So it's just like, okay, well, you want all of these people to have as much access as possible or as allowed, because then that means they're going to be covering it so much that more people will be seeing what your product is. And therefore, the logical conclusion of that is the more people see it, the more likely they are to buy it, which will help you bring in more profit. So the weird thing is that Kotaku is one of the biggest sites out there. They are actually one of the, I want to say they're like pretty much the top 5 like video game sites, like on the Alexa rankings. Basically, I have a chart on my Google Drive somewhere where I actually have them all ranked out according to like their rankings from like a few months ago or whatever. So it might have changed, but Kotaku is definitely like one of the top ones. And so for Bethesda and Ubisoft to do that, it's kind of strange because it's just like you're missing out on a lot. Your marketing isn't going to be as powerful now that one of the biggest sites doesn't exactly have as much access as other ones do. So it's a weird thing. It's an interesting thing. I don't know if they'll ever, because apparently it's been several months now. So I don't know if Bethesda and if Bethesda and Ubisoft will ever lift it. I mean, who knows? It's a strange thing. Blacklisting is. It's a very, I don't know. It's a very weird thing because it doesn't really help either company out. And I'm sure Kotaku would love to be, not whitelisted, but, put back on the list of, alongside IGN and all those other press outlets. I'm sure they would love that. And I'm sure somebody at Bethesda and Ubisoft would love to too, especially the people who actually see the editors at Kotaku, because it's not like they're not going to conventions and stuff. It's not like they don't know actual people at these outlets who they can talk to about this type of stuff. So I'm sure that's how they found out, probably, was at first, the whole not getting any emails back and stuff probably tipped them off to it. But I'm sure when they actually went to a convention and spoke to somebody who worked at, Bethesda PR or any other press relation person at Ubisoft, they were kind of like, yeah, this is off the record, but yeah, you got blacklisted. We're not going to give you anything. And so, like, Kotaku finds out that way, probably, because, I mean, these are human beings at the end of the day. These companies are made up of humans. And while, sometimes you can lose sight of the top people being mechanical robots, which is, it reminds me of EA's Mirror's Edge. The person who's at the head of EA actually looks a lot like the villain in Mirror's Edge, which is another funny thing, because it relates again to Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. You were basically a developer at Ubisoft, and you were being pushed by the people above you, the publisher, to put this game out, which was, I think, the same game or something. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to the metagame of Assassin's Creed 4, but it's like a funny commentary thing. But these people are human, so of course, I'm sure people at Ubisoft like Kotaku, read Kotaku, and like what they do, but they're not allowed to talk to them because somebody up above them told them not. So, I don't know. It's a weird thing. So, if you like what I do or the things that I say, which is strange and unworldly for me, you can follow me on Twitter at number8axel. The rest of the stuff that we do is on Illustrious Magic, and you can always check out the stuff I do for Jewel Shockers as well. That'd be great. I do weekend news and some video stuff for them too. So that was it for today. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care.